how many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible. Without your mother,
Last time
hundreds
on the
of
council
millions of
scene.
people would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gracie Zaku, and I'm bringing you all the hits and misses here, and let's play The Council! We are moving on to episode 2. Hide and seek, it looks like. And it looks like I've been arrested.
Is there nothing you want to say, Louis?
It wasn't me. I didn't kill her.
I'd much rather have met you under different circumstances.
Lord Mortimer, believe me, I'm very conscious of the gravity of the situation. Everything seems to point to me as the one who killed Elizabeth, but I swear I am innocent.
Out of respect for your mother, rest assured that I do want to believe you.
And all I want is to be able to prove it to you. When do we start?
We already have. Tell me, Louis, how do you feel?
I feel like a rat trapped in a maze.
Interesting. Sarah also felt like she was trapped like an animal.
Where are you going with this, my
No,
lord?
there's sounds. Is there a freaking
Sarah's
parrot in the
behavior
background?
grew odd before her disappearance. Her attitude changed. She became prey to outbursts of violence and a number of temporary absences. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't go getting lost like your mother did.
You're not suggesting that I might have killed Elizabeth and that I don't remember, are you?
Don't know, Louis. It's just that what with your mother and now you, it's rather a lot. The more I take stock of the situation, the more I'm under the impression that you've been set up. But before going any further, I must inform you that Sir Gregory is about to arrive. He is coming
Should we
to
be worried
question
about Sir
you
Gregory?
about the murder of poor Elizabeth, whom he was very fond of. He is quite determined to find the culprit, whomever they may be.
Dude has nice
So,
teeth. Look at that. Jesus.
convince him of your innocence. Then we can continue this conversation.
Well, Lord Mortimer
William,
is actually different
I would
from
like
what
to
look
see you a moment before we begin. In private.
Let's step outside a moment. Louis, this will only take a few moments.
In the meantime, I can kick whatever's making that sound in the face.
All right, let's take this chance to look around.
That's what's doing it.
Waldo? Waldo? What's your boy, Waldo?
Well, that's dumb.
Please, sit back down, Louis.
This sort of behavior is not working in your favor, young man. Monsieur de Richet, you were found standing over Miss Adams' body. We must shed some light on your responsibility in this tragedy. We shall then decide on your fate. But you must know that if you do not convince us of your innocence, it will cost you dearly. Now you are going to tell us everything that happened last night, without leaving any detail out. First things first, how did your evening begin?
Duchess Hillsborough and I were returning to our rooms when Elizabeth came upon us.
Oh, so you were with the Duchess?
Yes, we were talking. We were walking up the stairs, and it was late.
Where did you come from?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Listen, with everything that's happened, my thoughts are a bit mixed up. I can't remember very well. I'm sorry.
Now, why does that answer not surprise me? But please, do go on.
We were heading for our rooms when Elizabeth burst into the corridor, barely dressed. She was panic-stricken and insisted on speaking to me. So I found myself in Elizabeth's room. We sat down together. She insisted we have a drink, or she would refuse to confide in me.
What exactly did she want to speak about at such a late hour?
Well, she was terrorized by the fact that you invited her at the same time as my mother. She was surely victim to misconceptions, but felt trapped. She was convinced she was going to die.
But why?
Let's say she didn't believe in coincidences, shall we? You'll admit that the chances of my mother and Elizabeth bumping into each other on this island are pretty slim. Sorry if I'm putting my nose where it doesn't belong, my lord, but why did you invite them at the same time? Elizabeth spoke to you about her past. She came here so you could help her fight those demons.
Why can't this guy ever look at
She must
anyone
have
in the
told you
eye?
about her
He's always
encounters
just
with my
staring
mother.
off to the side.
Remember, Louis, I was not the one who invited dear Elizabeth.
Indeed, it was me. And you seem to forget it was you that we found right next to poor Elizabeth's body. You had better start proving your innocence rather than trying to cast doubts on William here. Let's finish this, William. I don't rightly know how we can give the benefit of the doubt to an individual who can manipulate the truth to absurdity.
Louis, unfortunately, you haven't managed to convince us. You will agree that you had the time and the motive to commit the murder. I am devastated, but I must agree with Gregory and declare you guilty.
Gentlemen, if you please, wait. There is something else. Elizabeth ended up telling me why my mother had tried to treat her.
The voices in her head, is that it?
She spoke to you about them too, didn't she? Gentlemen, I'm not a doctor, but she was persuaded she heard voices in her head. You don't think she might have killed herself,
By
do you?
stabbing herself 9 times. I find that extremely unlikely, don't you?
What? Stabbed 9 times?
It appears that the murderer walked up and stabbed her several times. 9 gashes in all. All of them were relatively shallow, and they were all given from roughly the same angle of attack. Traces of blood appear to prove that she was standing throughout the attack.
I might not have the strength of Hercules, but if I had stabbed a woman, I'd probably have made deeper cuts.
Sounds plausible. I have to admit, you put forward a powerful argument, Monsieur de Richet.
I think that will be all, Gregory. The benefit of the doubt suffices. I would like to thank you for helping us shed light on what happened last night. To be honest, you are not the only suspect. I'm prepared to believe you were drugged. Our poor Elizabeth hid the stuff everywhere, and I could smell laudanum on you 3 yards away.
So you knew it wasn't me from the start?
We weren't sure.
Well, that's fucked up.
Louis, I am sorry, but everything points in the same direction. I only know one person on this island who might have had a big enough grudge against Elizabeth, who has no alibi, and whose behavior is, well, suspect. Not to mention dangerous.
Tell me what happened before my arrival. I think I've been patient enough.
You
Oh, now
don't
you
need
can
us
look
for
at them.
any of this. So come along, Monsieur Peru. We are leaving.
Right. Mother, Louis.
She isn't missing, you know.
What? What do you mean?
My mother has left traces in every nook and cranny of your island, my lord. She's definitely here. Now, what worries me most is why she doesn't show herself.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However,
To his death.
there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take
Everyone
her
wants
seat.
me to attend
Why
even
not?
after this murder suspect
We
thing?
shall see.
That's weird.
Thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what he said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
Oh. What was the name of your dealer?
Exactly, something or other.
Von Volner?
No, not your friend Mr. Von Volner.
There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon
This
as
is
we
one of those
had a little
games where you,
free
like,
time,
every
we
little
like to
decision
share
can actually
points of
maybe
view about
matter.
practically any subject. we would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
The armistice between the Russians and the Turks. Russia's come out of it having officially won Crimea, which gives it direct access to the Black Sea.
And, at the same time, the Mediterranean Sea. I'm worried about the decisions Tsarina Catherine might decide to take. She's a woman who managed to get rid of her husband to accede to the upper reaches of power. Gaining access to the Mediterranean Sea remains her main objective. When she still had that dear Potemkin as her lover, I could always find out about her intentions, but those days are over.
You're speaking of Grigory Alexandrovich Potemkin?
The very man. The little devil behind the mother of all Russians. Since his death, I know absolutely nothing of what the Tsarina is up to.
Oh, really?
Ah, yes. I mean to shock you. Please forgive me. Let's
Dude
just
has
say
an
that
impeccable
in my
mustache. I'm
position,
just going to say that
it
right
is
now.
often advantageous to know about the habits and customs of world leaders.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean-d'Acre.
Unfortunately, my lord, the Crusades are not my chosen field.
Well, it doesn't matter. You have plenty of time to learn. Your mother
Because we're not
is
getting
a
shot.
very well-read
All
woman.
right.
You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
Drank the water.
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I trust this guy. I don't. He's too suave. He's too Rico Suave.
The room was just opposite Mortimer's study.
Are those hot towels or are those burritos? I can't tell. I would like one of each. Hot towel and a burrito. Go to the tower room.
Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
Yeah, that's the name. Okay. It's moments like these where I'm starting to be all like, what? This game's a bit linear with its travel plans. Am I missing something here? Maybe we're supposed to go to Myra? Okay, it says go to the tower room, but... I feel lost. I hate this.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there. Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays. What is this disc? St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors, too. Paul facing an ordeal.
Excuse me.
The curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. The door appears to be locked on the other side.
Well, that's not bueno.
I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like, we'll see if it works. It's open.
It's your bedroom.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. I don't know, what does that mean?
There's like so many options that makes me feel like this game has like intense replayability.
A occult symbol representing air.
It looks like George
The drawing
Lucas.
of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel. The New Testament. It's St. John, painted by Guido Reni. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Devil's Thorn.
Saint Mark, from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni.
Guido Reni did a lot of work.
A fragment of amber.
Okay.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
11 was underlined twice.
A note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say? Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
Which one's the youngest?
St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right. This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know how to recover the answer. The painting looks like it's been taken down recently. But wasn't my mother said that she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle? Ah, of course. There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean?
One to the left and 3 to the right.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air. St. John, painted by Guido Rini. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Now there is a Jerusalem by the sheep market, a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches.
Bethesda.
I and my Father are one. I and my Father are one. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha.
Okay. It has to do with something. It's got to do with something with this, right?
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. The sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there. There's nothing worth noticing here. No, nothing of value here. There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew. It says, count in the dust. All right, let's do it. There's nothing worth noticing here. It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years. There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. That's what the message in Hebrew spoke about. Hebrew 8. Thou hast put all things under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him. He left nothing that is not put under him.
Alright, wasn't that one.
But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul. St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come? This painting has been hanging here for a long time. A lot of dust is built up on it. Well, a finger has drawn a number in the thin layer of dust. I can read the number 4.
So St. Paul 4.
Because we look not at the things that are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal.
Nope.
Now, therefore, there is utterly a law with one another. Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? Ah, look, here's a message. It is of paramount importance that no one finds it. Watch out for the Prussian. He's on the trail. Let's meet up. I'll leave it to you to organize the rendezvous. Not today. I'm unable to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. Prussian? Volner? I must have a word with him. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things
This
are
is
lovely,
just like a weirdly
whatsoever
long
things
and annoying
are of
puzzle.
good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and
okay, that's
if
a little
there be
annoying that
any
I can't
praise,
skip anything that I've already
think
read.
on these things. Not in the lustful desire, even as the Gentiles who knew not God. This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind. In him God has chosen us before the foundation of the world, that we may be holy and blameless before him.
Okay, I've got all the fours.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. A chest with the occult symbol representing air. St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio.
The road to Damascus it is, then.
Then they suborned men, which said, We have heard him speak against Moses and against God.
Well, this is a bit annoying.
There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean? Because we look not at the things that are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit not be more glorious?
Yeah, even I am just sitting here going, what the fuck?
Now I pray to God that ye do no evil, not that we should appear approved, which is honest, for we are as reprobates. For we are unto God a sweet savor of Christ, in them that are saved, and in them that perish.
Okay, it's not that one.
For ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's.
Oh.
Life only, we are, of all men, most miserable.
Nope.
For the Jews require a sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom.
Nope.
It is of paramount importance that no one finds it. Watch out for the Prussian. He's on the trail. Let's meet up. I'll leave it to you to organize the rendezvous. Not today. I'm unable to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. Prussian? Volner? I must have a word with him. And that first group of pilgrims, how many are there now? If I refer to the chapter I'm reading at the moment, 6. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and was baptized by John in Jordan. Then came together unto him the Pharisees, and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And behold, there cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet.
Nope.
And as they did eat, Jesus took bread, and blessed it, and broke it, and gave it to them, and said, Take, eat, this is my body.
Giggity. Well, it's not that, I guess.
Then they suborned men, which said, We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God. And he became very hungry, and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare?
She's trying to get beyond Thunderdome, my dude.
What does she mean by that? I'm guessing it's a metaphor. I need to figure out what this means. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious.
Alright. Well, that was one big, long, gigantic sleck of a puzzle. It brought me out of time right here, folks. My name is Crazy Sakura. I brought you all the hits and misses here, and let's play The Council. Please drop a DDT on that like button. Cover for the 3. Smack that subscribe button like it owes you some money. Tingle that bell in the upper right corner to stay up to date with all of our adventures here on the island. Go ahead and share this video with your friends, your family, your loved ones, your enemies, and everyone in between. And I'll see you guys later. Later.